Hi, Brian. How are you?
Steve, how you doing?
I'm fine, thank you. Um, are there any talks within your team about making mini camp optional or dispensing with it entirely?
No, we plan on doing a mini camp week of the 14th. I think that's the right date. No talks. We're gonna have mini camp, and we're excited to have mini camp. We're excited to have the guys out on the field now in this phase 3. Um, it's good to see. We had a fairly good turnout the other day, and really I would say the last couple of weeks. So it's good to see the guys and really kind of get working on the fundamentals and techniques and communication. And like I've told them, you don't just roll out of bed and jump back into it as if you're in midseason form. So there's a lot of kind of working through some kinks. I would say even just from a basic fundamentals, footwork, hand placement standpoint. So it's good to get them out here and work through some of those things. And we'll see them these next few weeks to include minicamp.
And on another subject, what is the level of vaccination participation with your players? And is the team taking any steps to educate players about vaccinations?
Well, we certainly educated the players on, the different vaccines. We've given them a lot of education on it. I'm not going to get into the medical, the situations of the players on our teams as far as who is, who isn't. I just feel like that's kind of personal. So I'll stay away from that. But yeah, we've definitely given them education. Kyle Johnston, our head trainer, has done a very good job as far as presenting that to the players, the coaches, really everyone within the organization. And they have the information. Again, it's each person's individual choice.
You've been vaccinated, Brian?
Yes, I've been vaccinated.
Thank you.
Safid?
What's going on, Coach? Wanted to ask you if you could just probably share the nature of the conversation you guys had with trying to get the players into the facility and maybe the workload or how much actual work is being done, during this off season with you guys.
Well, I'm conversations between myself, players, they remain internal. You guys will be out there today, so you'll see what the workload is. But we'll stretch. We'll have some individual periods. We'll have some team periods, and I think we've gotten in these last, I would say, 3 instances where we've been on the field. I feel like we've gotten a lot out of it from a communication standpoint, from an alignment, assignment, communication standpoint. I think there's a lot you can take from even just being out there and just getting to know your teammates, building team chemistry. So I think we've gotten something out of it, and hopefully we'll continue to do so.
Mike?
Good morning, Coach. Wanted to ask you, some of your players who have been on Zoom already, offensive players, they've said that they have noticed with Tua that he is more comfortable when he's in the huddle, when he's giving out his cadence. I know it's early, but what have you noticed right now coming into his second season?
I think he's definitely more comfortable. I think, but I think that's normal. I mean, for anyone in the second year of doing anything that you're doing, I'm sure same things for you. And as a journalist, year one is year one, and you learn a lot, and you're a little bit better in year two, more comfortable. I think that's the case if you're football coach, football player, journalist, plumber, firefighter. I think you're just a little bit more comfortable. You know your surroundings, you know what's expected of you. You have better rapport with your teammates or the people you work with. I would say I've seen him as well as a lot of the second year players. And over the years, this is kind of what you see. They're just a little bit, they have a better understanding of we practice, the things that we expect from them is things that coaches expect from them. But then, what they expect of themselves, these are some things I need to be better at. And whether it's cadence, whether it's communication, whether it's getting aligned, whether it's, a certain specific fundamental, whether it's double teams or pulling or defeating the crack block or, your footwork in the pump protection. I mean, everyone's got something that, they have, they want to work on. And I would say when in any job, your second year, you're just a little bit more comfortable. And, we've seen that from him so far. And hopefully he continues to just grow and improve. That's what we ask all our players. And I've seen that. I've seen I see him being a little bit more comfortable. Yes.
Coach, if I can ask you on a quick lighter note, you like the Panthers' chances tonight? I know you were at the playoff game the other night.
Yeah, I mean, they obviously played well the other night. And I'm rooting hard for them. So same with the Heat. They play tomorrow night. So
thank you.
Thank you.
I know that you've had Melvin Ingram in for a look. I'm curious what you've seen from him over the years that draws your interest to begin with. And secondly, do you see those talks continuing? Is he still a possibility?
Oh, well, Melvin as a player over the years, obviously had a nice career. Has had a very, productive career. As a run player, as a pass rusher, as a disruptive defensive player. So, I think everyone in the league has seen that from him. And look, we do our due diligence on any player that's available. And that's the case with Melvin, and we brought him in, had some conversations. Again, I'm not going to get into what those specific conversations were with Melvin or what our conversations have been internally about, the possibility of adding him, not adding him. I'm not really going to get into it, but, we do our due diligence. And, in this instance, I want to take a look and see where that is. And, we'll see where it goes from here. I mean, I'm not at liberty to go into, what may or may not happen.
Omar?
Brian, I wanted to ask you about the hybrid defense. I don't know if that's what you call it. We always go back and forth with names. But where did that multiplicity sort of get birthed? Where did it evolve? I mean, in the early stages when you guys were winning championships in New England, you were pretty much your traditional 3-4 defense with Will Fork as a nose tackle and worked from there. When did you guys get to the point where you wanted to become multiple or hybrid?
I think I've always wanted to be multiple. I think that's something that, for me, having spent, the 1 year on offense where I was a coach under Bill O'Brien and spending the time with them offensively, I would say I learned a lot from that year about how offensive minds think. And if you are do the same thing or run the same coverage or run the same front or run the same of really anything, there is something or some scheme or something that's going to beat it, and they'll find it and they'll try to take advantage of it. So and I don't think this is just, what we do, but I think every team tries to have enough variety that no one can pinpoint, hey, they're doing this. So, we can attack, exactly what they're doing. I guess that's kind of, to answer your question. In order to do that, and to do that it's not easy to do that, I should say, Omar. So in order to do that, you got to have guys who are versatile and smart enough to basically change from one defense to another. one front to another front, one coverage to another front, another one coverage to another coverage. And, it takes a certain type of player just from a versatility standpoint physically and then mentally to be able to do that. And it's not easy to do. And as a coach, you may want to be multiple, and I think we all do. You may not be able to do that based on the guys you have, and we'll see if we have those guys. I mean, I'm not saying we do. I think it's something that you learn over time. We'll practice it. We'll see how much they can handle, and if they can handle a lot, then we'll do a lot. And if they can't, then we'll do what we feel like we can get accomplished.
Al?
Hi, Coach. I'm writing an article about the new 17-game schedule, and I wanted to know, with the extra game and extra practices and all that, how much more emphasis do you expect to be placed on the recovery process? And can you talk about how you expect the strategy to play into the league overall with the extra reps and everything for the players?
Well, I think we've always spent a lot of time on load management and recovery and loads and things of that nature. I have a meeting with Dave Paloka, our strength conditioning, head strength and conditioning coach, and Kyle Johnson, our head trainer, every day. The second we start training camp, we meet every day and talk about, where guys are from a exertion and load management standpoint. So, the 17-game season, obviously with us playing 13 in a row, we'll keep a keen eye on that. And we will, we've had a lot of conversations about it. I'll tell you that, Al. We've had a lot of conversations. I think we have a plan in place right now, but we know we've got to be able to adjust and be flexible. We can have a plan right now, but, as you know, within an NFL season, a lot of things change, a lot of things happen, and we'll be ready to adjust and be flexible. And that may be practice, that may be, I think the thing for us as coaches and as a staff is, getting enough practice in, managing the players, but giving ourselves an opportunity to practice. So that we can prepare ourselves enough to play at a good clip.
We'll go to Travis and then Joe.
Hey, good morning, Coach. As you guys are getting back on the practice field, I had a question for you with regards to when players are going through, portions of practice that might seem innocuous to outsiders, whether it's, stretching, warm-ups, walkthrough. What is it, if anything, that you guys are looking for in those periods from players?
Innocuous. It's a good one, Travis.
Thanks.
Yeah. Sorry, I was stuck on that. Can you ask the question again?
Yeah, I'm just, I'm curious when players are going through those types of drills that just seem like it's getting warmed up or maybe, again, innocuous. What is it that you as a coaching staff, if anything at all, are looking for in those periods? Whether it's, I'll just let you answer. Is there anything you're looking for in those periods specifically?
You mean individual periods, or I'm assuming you're saying individual periods. So footwork, hand placement, in some cases, when we're talking about watching the footwork, we're talking about an assignment, and that footwork will be kind of tied to, stretch is stretch. I mean, we get on them about stretching and hydrating and making sure that they're ready and prepped for practice, but specific to individual drills, footwork, hand placement, their strike on pads, timing, obviously, with receivers and quarterbacks, timing from a ball handling standpoint with quarterbacks and running backs, all those things, that may seem mundane, and I'm not sure what innocuous means, but I feel like it's probably in that realm. May seem mundane to some other people. I tell you what, when if we screw up a handoff, it's not going to seem mundane to anyone then. So they're very important to us as coaching staff. If the timing is not right in the passing game and we can't, complete a pass, those they're not mundane and innocuous. Those are the things that, for me, I pay a great amount of attention to. So.
Joe?
Hey, Flo, good morning to you.
Yeah.
I enjoyed meeting Charles Burks yesterday for the first time, and I know he's been around you guys for a couple of years. I'm just curious, how did a guy with 5 Division II stops, how did you find him?
Yeah, Chuck's is a good find. I think my relationship with John Wooten, the Fritz Pollard Alliance, is kind of how I got to meet Chuck. We interviewed him. He did well in the interview. We hired him. He's done a great job the last 2 years, and he's climbing the ranks. He's a very good coach. He's a good teacher, good communicator. Love him. So he's got great relationships with the players, great rapport with the players, and I think he's a very good coach.
Real quick, unrelated, to his conditioning and physical strength, how does that seem to you with him returning now for the second year?
Good. He's clearly been working hard this whole season. Not only that, he's done a good job as far as, when we weren't here at the facility grabbing guys. He had a group of receivers that were meeting at, I don't know what field somewhere, twice a week, and throwing routes, and again, building that timing that we just talked about, that Travis and I just talked about, building that time and building that rapport, building that chemistry. I think he's done a good job from a leadership standpoint in that respect, away from the facility, or when we were away from the facility. But physically, he's in a good place.
All right, guys, that's all the time we have for today. We'll see you at practice and have players after practice. Thank you.
I got time for a couple more. Who else? Mondo, you don't got nothing? All right, we got to get Mondo. I mean, he's, we got Mondo. Let's go. What you got?
Yeah, Flo. Thank you, sir. Innocuous, the opinion of a sports writer. Innocuous. It doesn't matter. It doesn't. So I wanted to ask, going back to that 17 game and the 13 weeks in a row, you're going to London, and I was wondering if you had a chance to maybe elect a bye after that game, or it was, you didn't have a choice. And if you did have a choice, why did you choose not to take it?
I mean, I guess my first thought is, the schedule is what the schedule is. So, to go back and say whether we did or we didn't, I don't know. Those are really, I don't know, but, it's not really something I'm worried about. I think the schedule is what it is. And, we're going to London and we're playing the next week. And, we're excited about, playing football in the fall, but, honestly, that's kind of, far out for me. And, I'm really kind of thinking about today and today's, interaction with the players and helping them improve and get better today. There was a second part there, Armando. I didn't catch.
No, it was all about, having to play those 13 games in a row, and, what challenge that presents.
Yeah, I mean, it'll be a challenge. Certainly be a challenge, but we'll take it one game at a time, like anything else. And I don't think that we're thinking about the 13 straight. We're really kind of focused on today, quite honestly. And when we get to the season, when we get to training camp, we'll focus on the days in training camp and the preseason games, and we'll focus on that. And we'll just try to take it one day at a time, improve on a daily basis. And look, there's challenges in every schedule. There's challenges, in anything we do, whether it's, football or, personal lives or, the schedule or training camp. And, we meet them head on and we do the best we can with them. And, I don't think, we put our energy on that and not on, coulda, woulda, shoulda.
Cam?
Hey, good morning, Flo. If I could ask a brief non-football than a football, we didn't get a chance to talk to you yesterday, but it was a year since George Floyd's passing, and I know that's been a passionate issue for you in the past. Have you had a chance to reflect about that and kind of where we are a year later?
Yes. Obviously, that yesterday's it was the 1 year of the George Floyd murder, and I think it just brought back a lot of memories of that time. The pandemic and that situation, and the protests that followed, and the division throughout the country, and really the world. And I think this country's grown a lot since then. I think empathy has increased, and that's a good thing. And hopefully we continue to do that. And it's not perfect. I'm not saying that by any stretch of the imagination, but I think some hearts and minds were changed, and hopefully we just continue to educate people, and continue to improve and get better from that standpoint.
Okay. No, that's good. I didn't know if you were finished. I don't want to interrupt. But yeah, no, if I could briefly transition, I guess it's awkward, but you mentioned earlier about Tua getting guys together in the offseason. I'm curious, obviously that position being a leadership position, how much you talk to him about leadership versus just kind of getting better on his own, and maybe the balance between those.
I think it's a combination of both. I think we talked to him about his fundamentals, his technique, his accuracy, his command and huddle. I mean, I've talked to him about a lot of things, with that being obviously a big part of what we're talking about. But I think all of that kind of goes together. So just his we talk about his presence in the huddle, his presence in the building. But we also talk about everything football specific as well, because if he's got to lead that way too. If his fundamentals are good and his techniques and his communication are good, then that kind of leads the way for the entire offense and gives us an opportunity. It's not just Tua, it's Jacoby, it's Reed, and really the entire team. So. But my conversations with him are no different than they are with the signal callers. I think that's something that I talk to really the team about. If you're a signal caller here, which is obviously quarterback, it's the center position, linebackers, safeties. We ask those guys to do a really good job of communication, and kind of lead the way from that standpoint. And those are part of the responsibility.